Really, truly? The meeting for the February Council on Aging is now convened. You would stand if you're able to for the Pledge of Allegiance. Karen?
Thank you. Everyone ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, it's been too long. It's been too long since we've seen you folks. I'm glad you remembered that we were here, and hopefully out in television land you remembered us too then. Let's do the roll call, please, Francine.
Happy New Year. Commissioner Allen? Commissioner Fotheringham?
Here.
Commissioner Gorbach?
Here.
Commissioner Grimm?
Here.
Commissioner Healy?
Here.
Commissioner Kopaz?
Here.
Commissioner Loomis?
Older and better.
Commissioner Norkin?
Here.
Commissioner Shentez? Thank you.
Very good. All of us seniors found our way back here. That's wonderful. All right, this is the time for public comments. We've got a couple of them here. Cynthia Bankston from the Global Commission. Please, you take the stand. Microphone.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm Cynthia Bankson from the Senior Commission from the Global Center. I am here to talk to you a little bit about our History Comes Alive program. We have had, I think, 3 now in our series. Our next one is coming up on the 16th of February at 1:30 at the center, cost of $5. It's the story of a young girl who was the daughter of a plantation owner in South Carolina. She had to take over for her father, who was assigned to Antigua as a British soldier. So she was in charge then of the southern plantations. The story is going to be told by our very renowned professor from Cal State Northridge, Charles McCune. Dr. McCune has been with Northridge for years and years as the chairman of the history department. He is infamous, maybe just famous, for doing his history classes in costume. So he is going to come representing Elizabeth Pinckney's son, Charles, and he will tell us the story of why she was so very famous and why George Washington chose to leave his duties of fighting the war and come and be a pallbearer at her funeral. So we're hoping that you all will be able to come and enjoy this. Again, it is on Sunday afternoon, 1:30 in the afternoon, 16th of February. For a fee of $5, you may sign up at the Global Center or pay that day as you come. We have one other event we'd like to tell you about also today, and that's our game night, again, put on by the Commission to be fun for us. We've had 2 of them so far. This one is going to be Friendly Feud, based on Family Feud, where we'll have teams vying against each other. You may come in with a team if you would like, or you may be assigned to a team if you want to actually participate, or you may just come and watch. It's an it's an evening on March 28th, starts at 6 in the evening. There is no fee for this. There are prizes, and some of the prizes I understand are quite nice. Cheese Factory. Anyway, we'd like to invite you all to come to that event as well. Thank you very much from the Senior Commission.
Well, thank you for letting us know about those, Cynthia. Thank you. Yeah, and now that football's over, everybody should have needs to find something to do on Sunday afternoons. Very nice. All right. A well-recognized, well-known face at the Council of Aging, who needs no introduction. I'll just say Mel. Come on up here, Mel.
Thank you, Dave, and members of the Commission. Good afternoon. As you all have heard, the city is planning a 50-year celebration, including a vision of what we think the city will look like in 2064. City Council will have a study session as part of its February 11th meeting at the Lundgren Center at CLU. We, including our viewing audience, must attend. COA, either as individual citizens or as an advisory body to the City Council, must provide critical input. The aging demographics of the city are compelling and inexorable. You are the city's experts on all aspects of aging. You are the think tank for senior issues, their impact on interrelationships. You have set examples for many other cities. The Commission must be proactive, recommend ideas and possible solutions, and play a major role in these planning activities. Here is one example of a potential factor which can impact the housing infrastructure in the city. The nation's top demographers are concerned about the emerging big sell-off of homes by seniors and aging baby boomers for many reasons. Who will buy their homes? Well, the millennial generation, obviously the 20s and the 30s. Our grandchildren. They're about 90 million strong across the nation. Current studies for the U.S. indicates the millennials, for many reasons, which I will not enumerate now, cannot afford to own these senior homes. This could lead to the next major housing bubble and plunging home prices. There are the aging in place or home share options. The SAMP housing team has been researching them. This may not work for many, so where do these folks go? Recent opposition to senior housing proposals indicates a major anti-senior culture in the city. We need a community conversation. COA can help to facilitate that conversation. Past city surveys are inadequate. The 2015 survey and those to follow must contain strong demographic components to provide sufficient data to address such problems. Do these possible generic concerns apply to the Conejo Valley? We don't know, but we must find out. Why don't we use our local colleges and local volunteer experts to form a new SAMP demographics and strategic planning team? You perhaps should change your priorities for 2013-14 and tell the City Council about the urgency and why you're doing it. I plan to tell the City Council on February 11th. Please join me. Our voices can speak volumes. The future is ours to create. Thank you.
Great words, Mel. Thank you. Just to reiterate, folks, it's next Tuesday is when this workshop's going to happen with the City Council. They're going over to the Lundgren, I don't know Swedish too well. It's going to start about 5 o'clock. There's going to have a sort of a meet and greet from 5 to 6, and then the actual workshop will start. It's, as I understand it, correct me, Francine, it's a non-agendized meeting.
No, it's agendized.
Oh, it is agendized, excuse me.
It's a workshop that's
Okay, but so, and I think the rules that we had here, like a 3 minutes to talk, is going to be held. So, so the more the merrier. The more they've got to hear from us as seniors, and what we feel may not be as friendly as we'd like it to be with some of the recent past actions. So, I would like to see as many of you folks here, as well as in television land, come out to this and make your voices known. Okay?
Dave, where is it going to be held? Is it right here?
No, Kowloon.
At Kowloon?
At the Lundgren facility.
Okay.
It's the big auditorium.
Okay.
Gilbert Sports Arena. Thank you. Thank you.
Everyone is invited, the public,
it's
everybody?
Yeah, it's an open workshop for the citizens of the Conejo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No.
People need parking permits to park in the office.
No.
I know you're from that environment, so you know. All right, we have one more guest, Sherry Phoenix, one of the hardworking members of SAMP, and many other activities, and what she's going to tell us about today.
Hi, my name indeed is Sherry Phoenix, and I'm co-chair of the Thousand Oaks Council on Aging Senior Adult Master Plan Transportation Committee. Longest title ever. The other co-chair and my better half, Jane Messier, couldn't be here today because she is at Senior Congress. They say that today is the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be again. In other words, we are always aging. While getting older may not be one of your favorite things, it sure beats the alternative. The Council on Aging does remarkable things to ensure that our city's seniors and the boomers cresting the silver tsunami are able to enjoy a safe, productive, meaningful life living in the community. What's most important is to enjoy life on your own terms as much as you can. As all of you know, and many people in our audience, 6 years ago, the Council on Aging conducted a survey to determine what boomers and seniors needed or would need in the future in order to age in place. The result was the 10-year Senior Adult Master Plan, or SAMP. I hopped on board the Transportation Committee. As a member of the State Independent Living Council and director of a local nonprofit that serves people with brain injuries, I already knew that effective, comprehensive, and reliable public transit is critical to the independence so highly valued by seniors, people with disabilities, and anyone else who doesn't drive for whatever reason. Our transportation team is committed to educating the community around the use of public transit. Our message is, even in Southern California's car-crazed environment, you don't have to drive in order to have a rich, fulfilling life. You just need to know how to use public transit, and then off you go, literally. Some people assume they'll never need or use public transit, but you never know what will happen in your future. What if your car were in the shop? What if you couldn't afford to fill up your gas tank? For example, did you know that an estimated 40% of us will acquire a disability by age 70? What if you had to give up your keys because of, say, failing eyesight? Are you really prepared to sit home for the rest of your days, or is public transit beginning to look like a more viable option? The Transportation Committee holds quarterly transit information workshops in partnership with the City of Thousand Oaks Transit Department and with Mobility Management Partners, an entity that provides free travel training to county residents who want to become more comfortable using public transportation. We invite you to attend our next workshop, which will be held Wednesday, February 19th at 12:30 at the Global Adult Community Center. Please make your reservation now because these workshops fill up fast. In order to make a reservation, call 805-381-2744. That's the Global Center number. Again, that's 805-381-2744. And I hope to see you there. Council on Aging, thank you for your time.
Thank you again, Sherry. A reminder, it is February 19th, because we're going to hold this transit, the transit training. It's an invigorating meeting in the sense that you get to see the power that you have in using public transit. So I encourage everybody who has concerns or looking to the future to join us for that meeting. Okay? All right, that completes the public comments. All right, so I want to move on now to the continuation of the city website demonstration put on by Francine. It'll be the third one, and who knows how many more we'll have as we keep exploring capabilities of the website. Francine, take it away.
Thanks, Dave. Today, Chair Grimm has asked me to highlight a couple of opportunities on the homepage and show some resources that we have that are available to everyone. I'm just not loud enough. Okay. The first website that we'll go to is the city's website, and again, that's www.toaks.org. So toaks.org, and from the homepage, we're going to take a look at a couple things that are on the main menu bar. So right under the main menu, you're going to see some pictures, and these are highlighted items on the website. There's usually about 7 or 8 of them. And the first one we're going to look at is the Area Housing Authority of Ventura County has opened applications for low-income housing. So if anybody is in need of that, that's someplace that you should visit. And the second thing we're going to look at is the council in your community. So if you want more information on the council meeting that Dave was just talking about at CLU, you can come here and you can click on that, and it will give you more detailed information. And the next one we're going to look at is MindMixer. So this is MindMixer, and if you sign up on MindMixer, we have different topics every month or every couple months, and you can contribute to that by making recommendations to City Council and to the city. So you have to sign up to participate, and it's just a couple of very basic questions about your name and your username and password. And then once you join online, you can save it in your favorites, and you can go to MindMixer. And when you come here, there's going to be all kinds of activities and topics. And the topic this month is, what are your favorite ideas for the city's 50th anniversary celebration? So that's this year. So if you have any ideas for that, this is a really good place for you to share those. And my guess is going forward, the topics are going to be about planning for the next 50 years. So you want to keep checking back on this and participate in the conversation on MindMixer. So that talks about that. And then the other thing we wanted to talk about is the Council on Aging, along with a very large group of volunteers, has created a website called Caneo Connections. I keep clicking on the wrong place. So the website is www.caneoconnections.org. And when you come to Caneo Connections, I'm doing the wrong button. When you come to Caneo Connections, this is the home page. And from the home page, you can select Services and Assistance from the sidebar, or Services and Assistance from the bottom bar. And once you select that, I'm just going to show you a couple examples. So we're going to go Services, Assistance, and then Seniors. And then from the Seniors page, we're going to go ahead and choose Transportation today, because we have a transportation guest speaker today. So we'll click on Transportation, and in Transportation there's a lot of links for dial-a-ride, fixed transit, medical emergency, non-medical, regional transportation, and the train. So you can click on any one of these things to get more information. So if you'll notice, there's two links. On the left-hand side, if you click on Dial-a-Ride Thousand Oaks, it's going to open a PDF. And that is just a one-page summary of what Thousand Oaks Transit is all about. And if they had volunteering available for Thousand Oaks Transit, it would be listed under here. But they don't. So that is if you click on this left link right underneath the headings. If you click on the right link, it's going to take you directly to their website for additional information. So you can find out assisted living facilities, Medicare facilities, civic organizations, anything you possibly could want to know about senior concerns, and other agencies. So Caneo Connections is a really great place, and our website must be having a little bit of trouble because we didn't get to transportation. I've been noticing our websites have been slow for a few things, not Thousand Oaks personally, but in general. So this is Simi Valley's Dial-a-Ride. So on the right side, you can click on any of those, and you should be able to get to any of the websites. And I'll have to check on TO Transit. Another really great one is the goventura.org, which also falls in line with what we're doing today. So this will take you to there, and you can find out about VCTC and VISTA and the things that you're going to learn more about today. So Caneo Connections is a great way to find additional resources. Right now, we're looking for people, if you check it and you need changes or you need things to be added, maybe your agency or your nonprofit isn't listed in here, you can send those to councilonaging@toaks.org. And if you look on the PDFs, you can kind of see what information we're looking for. And that's about it. Thanks, Dave.
I just hope over the last couple of meetings that people have seen that the power that this website does have as far as information that is already available. You don't have to go out and do a lot of digging to find it. And as Francine was saying, we're trying to get it updated, continually adding. We'd certainly like to have any of you folks in the community, senior or otherwise, that support the community, the senior community, to add themselves, their information to our website. Okay? Thank you. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, you do the liaison. Go ahead. All right, I'm going to let Len take over now for a little bit.
And we are at item 6. We're going to talk about liaison reports. And the first thing up is going to be item 6A, which is the Conejo Senior and Volunteer Program. And do we have some wonderful words of brilliance about that, please? Yes. Patty. I was looking around for the wrong color, Patty. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Good afternoon, Commissioners. The Conejo Senior Volunteer Program.
Patty, introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. I am Patty Ham, the supervisor at Gobel Adult Community Center. And I am going to highlight this month for the Conejo Senior Volunteer Program the incredible service that they're providing at this time for the seniors of the Conejo Valley. It's a free income tax program in cooperation with the Internal Revenue Service. Trained and certified CSVP volunteers have been providing free income tax preparation for persons in either of these two categories: seniors 60 years of age or older, any income level, or persons with an income of $50,000 or less, regardless of age. And we began this program last week. It began on January 30th, and it will go through April 11th. On Wednesdays, it will be held at Newberry Park Library at 2331 Borchard Road, Newberry Park, from the hours of 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. On Thursdays, it will be held at Gobel Center, 1385 East Jans Road, Thousand Oaks, from the hours of 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then again on Fridays from the hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Gobel Center. No appointments are taken, and it is a first-come, first-serve opportunity. And that's it. Any questions?
Yeah, go ahead, Martin.
I'm on.
Nope, Harry.
Okay. As we said, no appointments are taken, and it's a first come, first served. And what you should bring with you is a photo ID and your social security card and cards of everybody else who's going to be on your return, such as your spouse and any dependents you may have. Make sure you bring your wage and earning statements, the W-2 forms, 1099 forms, your property tax bill, and the interest and dividend statements you receive from banks or brokerages. A copy of last year's federal and state return. While you may have had your return done with us last year, we don't actually keep your return on file. So you want to bring your last year's return in case you want to compare the differences between this one and that one. If you're planning on having your, hopefully, refund deposited to your bank account, make sure you bring your bank account information, routing numbers and account numbers. We do not do rental income, which goes on a Schedule E. And we do business income and expenses that go on a Schedule C, but only if you made a profit. And only if your expenses are under $5,000. Okay.
You have in your hands, Marty, a really nice flyer. Can we get that at Gobel's, or is it available at other places?
Well, it's on that rack on that back wall as you walk into the building. That's where I got mine.
Okay, good. Do you want? May I have it?
Sure.
It's also
I have many.
It's also available on the website www.crpd.org, and you can go to the Gobel site webpage, and CSVP has a link on that, has a page also on that website that you can go to that has all that information.
Thank you very much, Patty. Some of us are very slow in our note-taking these days, and so I thought I would go on. The next topic...
The other was one more
Oh,
thing.
go ahead, Marty.
CSVP is going to have a fundraiser.
A little bit louder. Is your mic on?
Mine is on.
Thank you.
Is it working?
Yeah, you have to get up on it.
Okay. Anyway, they're planning on a fundraiser. It'll take place April the 29th, which happens to be a Tuesday, from 11 to 11 p.m. at the Lazy Dog Cafe, which is at the Oaks Mall. The idea is that 15% of your bill will be donated to CSVP.
Very good. Thank you very much, Patty. I still have on my agenda here in item 6B, Goebel's Adult Community Center and Commission. Do you have anything more to add to your... You had the time.
Yes,
Go,
it's me
please.
again.
Thank you.
Okay, a couple of programs I'd like to highlight for the month of February. We are going to be having a program entitled Will You Pass Your Driving Test? And that's going to be offered on Monday, February 24th from 1:30 to 3 at the Goebel Adult Community Center. Betty Berry will be presenting, and this program will make seniors more comfortable in taking the DMV test. The presentation will focus on how to study for the written test and provides hints on what you should do if required to take the road test again. And you can call the Goebel Center at 805-381-2744 for reservations for that program. The other program I'd like to highlight is the Teens versus Seniors pre-qualifying 8-ball tournament, ages 50 plus. That pre-qualifying tournament will be Thursday, February 27th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We will take the top 6 players and 2 alternates will be representing the Goebel Adult Community Center as we play for the title against the Thousand Oaks Teen Center on Thursday, March 6th from 5 to 9. There's an $8 fee, which includes a barbecue lunch. And any senior can go ahead and register at the Goebel Adult Community Center before February 26th. You can do that in person or call us at 805-381-2744 for more information. And right now I'd like to ask Harry if he has anything to add about the commission.
Yes, Patty, I do. Thank you. The Board of Commissioners is composed of individuals 50 years of age or older residing within the boundaries of the Conejo Recreation and Park District. We needed are individuals who are knowledgeable of the recreation and social needs and interests of senior adults and community resources. Nonprofit or for-profit business skills are desirable. Commissioners volunteer their time and special skills, serve on commission committees, and assist in planning, organizing, marketing, and conducting programs that benefit seniors. Regular public commission meetings are held on the 4th Wednesday of each month at 1 p.m. at the Goebel Adult Community Center. Potential candidates are encouraged to attend. The commission will consider individuals who apply for appointment or reappointment to the commission. Recommendations will then be made to Conejo Recreation and Park District Board of Directors for final confirmation. Commissioners appointed will be required to file state law conflict of interest code Fair Practice Commission FPPC Form 700 Statement of Economic Interest. If you are interested in applying, you should submit a Goebel Center Commission application available at the Goebel Adult Community Center with your name, address, email address, phone number, and any pertinent information to Recreation and Community Services Division, Conejo Recreation and Park District, 403 West Hillcrest Drive, Thousand Oaks, California, 91360 by Friday, February 28, 2014. For information, please call 805-495-6471. There will be available some seats on the commission that expire this June. So if you're interested, please apply. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harry. For anybody that's watching out there, particularly if you are a caregiver, the Global Center has, I'm going to use a wonderful word, a myriad of services, and you owe it to the person you're giving care to drop by or hang on to a copy of the monthly activities that these activities are printed once a month, so that you can keep your senior otherwise entertained, because you never can tell the trouble that idle hands will get into once you leave the house if you don't do that. But thanks very much, Patty. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't. Thank you very much.
And finally, on item 6.6C, Ventura County Area Agency on Aging. Who's going to handle that? Dr. Fotheringham will.
I love a finger-pointing accomplice. It's fairly popular these days to think that there are too many laws in our state and our country, and certainly with 800 new laws this year in California alone and so forth, there's certainly meat for those thoughts. But if you or someone you love has been the victim of something that doesn't seem to be illegal, or seems to have been possible to obstruct it with a law and so forth, you may take a different viewpoint. And what I wanted to talk about at the moment is some of the matrix that goes into recommending new laws for seniors, and how they can start at the grassroots level and work their way up to the state legislature. And the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging is heavily involved in this in a couple of respects. One, it sort of listens to the anecdotes, so that when seniors have problems in the county and so forth, that where they think that new legislation might have prevented this problem, they listen to that and accumulate the anecdotes, and then attempt to make some recommendations through a couple of pathways, one of which is through the California Senior Legislature. And the California Senior Legislature is a legislative body that doesn't actually make laws directly, but puts a lot of pressure on those who do, including walking the halls in Sacramento and so forth, promoting ideas. And our representative here in the Conejo Valley is June Glassmeyer, and you can reach her through the VCAAA or through teoaks.org. The second pathway is through the county's lobbyist. And not only do corporations have lobbyists, but cities and counties have lobbyists also and so forth, and we make good use of ours. And I'll tell you a little bit, a little later in the program and so forth, about some of the details of what this relationship between VCAAA and our county lobbyist. That's it for now.
Good. I thought you'd forgot all about the time in the next section. We are now on item 7, and these are commissioner reports. To remind our audience, both here and on the archive, watching, hopefully streaming, each of us volunteers, is a better way to say it, for activities in an area that we feel we have a particular expertise. And for a long time, we've been doing now Senior Buzz, which is the odds-on favorite amongst seniors, apparently, because it disappears. It's on stiff paper, so I don't think it can be used for anything else except maybe building a fire. Thank you very much for catching on to that illusion. And anyway, item 7B, Harry Norkin, please.
He doesn't want to follow that.
You caught me by surprise in that one. I'm sorry, I'm not up to date on it. I know that the edition was sent in, but I guess there were printing problems at the city and so forth.
Next week.
It being published today?
Yeah, we'll have
Thank
it
you.
next week.
Thank you. That's all I have right now.
Yeah, well, once again, bailed out by the staff assistant who said in her great big command voice, "Next week." So the Senior Buzz will be on the street next week. Look out for it. thanks, Harry, because you do such great work with it. The printing press is not your fault. And Dr. Fotheringham, doesn't he look like a doctor? He should be. Anyway, Commissioner Fotheringham will address more about legislation in 7B. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, I mentioned that there's this this interaction between the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging and the county's lobbyist at Sacramento. And what I wanted to do is to summarize some of the principles and policies and so forth that have resulted from this interaction, and with one caveat, and that is that these aren't fully finalized. They're supposed to be final any day now and so forth. So what I'm going to describe is a draft form, but I suspect it's close enough to reality now that it's safe to share it. And these are sort of, some of them fairly broad brush principles and so forth. They aren't specific proposals and so forth, but give you a flavor for what the county is supporting with under some urging from VCAAA. The county supports proposals that would increase funding for elder abuse, prosecution, and prevention programs, would expedite reimbursement or restitution to seniors victimized by financial crimes, and increase the penalties for those convicted of these of crimes against seniors and so forth. The county supports legislation that would utilize prevention funding through California's implementation of the Federal Affordable Care Act, that is Obamacare, to fund more evidence-based programs for seniors that would support seniors' desire to age in place. So this is a fairly important concept that shows up as a theme here too, is that we and the county have a strong interest in allowing people to age in place as long as practical and so forth, and for providing any resources that might help that, including legislative resources. The county supports full funding of the long-term care ombudsman program, and also supports legislation that prohibits owners and operators and employees of licensed health care facilities from serving as a representative payee on behalf of a resident of the facility. And this hopefully is obvious that prevents somebody operating one of these facilities or working in one of these facilities from intercepting checks that are intended for the residents there and using those checks for their own purposes. And the county supports legislation that will require all public staircases to be equipped with handrails without exception. I thought this was the case, but apparently there are some out there that don't have handrails. The county supports funding and efforts to move towards community-based services as opposed to nursing home placement. And this, again, is consistent with the notion that people should be allowed to age in place as long as practical, and the nursing home represents a path of last resort. So that gives you a feel for where the county's head is in terms of legislation for seniors at the present time, and thank you.
Just a second.
Yes.
So you're saying this is sort of going through the state of fomenting?
Yeah, this is usually it's sort of the end of January when this becomes final and so forth. And what it really is the county's guidance to its lobbyists.
Okay.
These are the things that we want you to promote when you go to Sacramento.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Nick. To my knowledge, this is the first time that we've heard that business about facilitating aging in place in the county, and in the 6 years that I've been on the council. So that's big news. Thank you, sir. Finally, in item 7 is item 7C, outreach. Roberta Kopatz. This is her first year, ending the first term on the Council on Aging, and she has a very interesting job for outreach.
Yes. Oh, for outreach? I didn't know you mean programs.
Well, yeah, outreach.
Oh, no, it's me.
Okay, just want to make sure you know
It's you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They change often and frequently.
Right.
I'm sorry, Nancy.
That's all right. That's okay. It's easy. I like to stay under the radar. It's way better that way. One of my goals, this is, after all this is my 5th year on Council on Aging, and I also am with Nick on Ventura County Area Agency on Aging, as we are representatives from Thousand Oaks. And one of my goals before I leave Council on Aging, one more year after this one, is that we will get the city to be aware that we are here for them, that we are a resource for them. Please, if you know someone who has a problem, if you know of something that's going on that the person doesn't know about, I'm going to show you a little video in 1 second, a PowerPoint that Dr. Karen Gorbach, our commissioner, made for us on her own. It's very nice. But the point of this is to get across to people that Council on Aging is here. You can always get in touch with us through the city with Francine Spriegel. Ventura County Area Agency on Aging is also a resource for us. So in the past 3 weeks, I have had cases where 2 women, both in their 90s, one was somebody had called Adult Protective Services because they felt she should not be alone. But she did not understand this. So she was terrified of what was going to happen to her. She thought someone was coming and could just take her away. So she called the city. Francine called me. The lady and I now talk once a week. But we didn't solve her problem, but we found the resources. We found out exactly who was coming to the house. What was the point of it? And she said a million times, I'm so glad that the city was there and somebody suggested I call. The other thing is I had one woman, a 90-year-old woman, who was defrauded on phone scams in the last 2 months. Fairly substantial amounts of money. And so I was able, because of my connections with VC AAA, with our Area Agency on Aging, to get some recommendations for people. We got in touch with the woman who runs our financial abuse team here. There's for the county with the district attorney, social workers. And so we can take steps. So if anybody, you belong to organizations, your church, whatever, and you would like an opportunity to know more about what we do, I'm going to show you this PowerPoint that's really great. And please contact us. You can contact Francine. Please know we are here. If you know a senior or if you are a senior that needs assistance, we won't be the one to help you, but we are a great resource. So please keep that in mind. And we can show this very short PowerPoint at any meeting. So that's where we are, right, Miss Francine? Francine just taught me how to do this, so we'll see how this goes. Okay. Do I just start?
You're a virgin on something?
Oh, not for years. Oh, this is my 4th time, yes. Sorry, you deserve that. What? Okay. This is.
It is pretty.
Okay. This is very nice. The city council established this group, our group, in 1974, and we are here to address the concerns and the needs. We are a wonderful resource. The 9 of us are all pretty obviously seniors, and we all have different areas of expertise, but believe me, together we can find what you need. Okay, we provide information to the city also on issues that we feel are important to seniors in the community. We advise the city council on these. Okay, here are our council members. I think every one of us are here today. Dave Grimm is our chairman. Leonard Loomis is our vice chair. Loretta Allen is a commissioner. Nick Fotheringham is a commissioner. Karen Gorbach. I'm Nancy Healy. Roberta Kopes is down on that end. Harry Norkin on the other end, and Martin is right next to me. So we're all here. Most of us I've been here 5 years. A lot of them have been here 10 years, 8 years. We have a couple of really new people, which are great to get new blood. So please remember us if you have issues. Okay, we have Council on Aging is a standing committee that are all appointed. We're all volunteers. They start to ask for applicants in January, February, April, okay. And then you interview with 2 city council members, and depending on how many vacancies there are, depending on how many people decide not to run again, there are 2-year terms. We only have really 2 standard meetings a month. This is our first Wednesday meeting. It's always televised with speakers. We also have a workshop meeting on the third Wednesday of the month, and that's in the morning from 9:30 until about 11:30, and that's held right now at the library. Let's see. Oh, I love it. That's our drum roll. Okay. You can watch us. If you can't come here and watch us here, you can watch our meetings on TOTV. It's either Channel 3 or Channel 10, isn't it? Always, depending on your particular provider. And it's also, they're archived on there forever and ever. If there's ever a show that you'd like to go back and see, we've done some wonderful shows on the Village Network, Hearts, Depression, all sorts of good speakers come in. They're there forever and ever, and you can just go through and look them up on your computer. So tells you how to do it. Go to the list of videos under Council on Aging in the programming library. Very easy to find. Okay, here are some special presentations that we have done. We've done things on caregiving. We did one that we used the Ombudsman Office and a number of other people actually called When Living Alone is No Longer an Option, which means when you or somebody in your family really isn't safe living alone. These are just some of the things, elder abuse and fraud. And I'm personally, after this thing with the telephone, with this woman's phone things, I'm going to bring in some of the things we got from the woman who runs our financial abuse committee for the county next time. Some suggestions on what people should do that get these phone solicitations over and over. We've had some great programs. We work with other community organizations. This is why we are such a good resource. We work with Senior Concerns all of the time. I work as an ombudsman in Simi Valley a lot, so I work even with Lori Bliss in Simi Valley. Here we work with Senior Concerns. We work with the Goebel Center. We work with Ventura County Area Agency on Aging, what Nick was just talking about. So all in all, we are well connected with the community. You can certainly help if you have, this is our database that we've done. If you want to tell people, it's ConeoConnections.org, and I think Francine just showed us that. And here's some ways that you can look for information in the community, or you can contact us and we will help you find it. We are your resource. We hope to be your resource. I'd like to be more of your resource. Okay, we also are responsible, have been responsible for the implementation of the Senior Adult Master Plan. We have community members who are on all of these committees in their particular areas of expertise and things that they're interested in. We have health and recreation. We have assistance and volunteers. We have transportation. We have housing. All of these are groups. And so please, again, if you're interested in being involved in some of these, you can let any of us know. You can let Francine Spriegel at the city know. We try to do a lot. I wish we could do more. Every year at the end of the year, our guest of honor, is right here today. Every year, one of the biggest requirements that we have as a appointed commission is that we sponsor at the end of every year a Senior of the Year dinner and award a Senior of the Year award. And last year, it was Mel Silberberg, who happens to be here in our audience today and already spoke to us. This is a program where if you volunteer with somebody, if you work at an agency, a church, whatever, you can suggest, the agency can suggest a volunteer that works for them that lives in the city of Thousand Oaks who they feel has done exceptionally over the past year. And there's usually 5 to 6 or 7 people nominated, and the nomination letters are just amazing. And then they are all interviewed, and a final winner is chosen. One of the toughest decisions ever, because these people are amazing, the hours that they spend volunteering for the community. So that is probably our biggest thing that we are charged with, but we try to do a lot more. So that's very important. Please, here is some of our numbers. This is ways you can stay in touch. Francine Spriegel is the one who's been helping us here. There is her phone number, 805-381-7362. You can email at councilonaging@toaks.org. You can come to any of our meetings. The first Wednesday or the third Wednesday is in the morning, but you can come here, speak, and like we had public comments today, you can join one of our teams. You can look at the Conejo Connections database. What we would really like is if you wanted to invite us to speak or just to show this, at very limited, at one of your meetings, because we would like for people to know that we are here. My biggest personal goal is that people are more aware of us and that we really can sometimes make a difference in one person, for one person. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Please, if your church, anybody is interested, let us know. We will be most happy to come to visit you. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Healy. This is the first time we've heard this presentation, and you did a bang-up job.
It's from my heart. So
Yeah.
that one is important. So, really.
Outstanding. Very good. And now, gratefully, I give it back to Commissioner Grimm.
Well, class, we certainly have learned a lot today, haven't we? Yeah, there's been a lot of things that we've talked about here, but do want to have the commissioners, if they have any particular items they want to bring up before we move into the guest speaker. Karen, lead us off.
Thank you very much. I wanted to let you know that I'm in the process of completing a month-long study for Ventura College on the following areas that are of interest to seniors. And these potential classes would be offered through a community education format, which means they won't be for college credit, but they would be professional development courses for individuals, businesses, and the community who specialize in serving seniors or who want to move in that direction. So let me tell you what they are, please. The first one would be professional development for individuals who work as home health aides or CNAs and want to specialize in assisting seniors. And the second one would be a 3-day certification program to become a certified senior advisor. And the Society for Certified Senior Advisors has the curriculum for this 3-day certification, and this would be for individuals who work in all sorts of areas. Someone who works in real estate might be interested in training to become a certified senior advisor, or someone who works in the trades, or someone who works in the financial sector, or people who work in assisted living facilities or any type of medical position. To have certified senior advisor after your name might be a way to open up your clientele base, and more important, by taking this course, you will become more aware of the unique issues facing seniors in the community and be able to serve them with greater confidence as they become your clients. And we know, we've heard, and of course we know that individuals over 65 are the fastest growing demographic in Ventura County. And you know, I was speaking to someone the other night at the Camarillo Healthcare District who said, Karen, you're wrong. It's individuals over 85 who are the fastest growing demographic. So yes, maybe we need more people with this training as certified senior advisors. The third one we're looking at is to offer a certification to become an aging in place specialist. This is a 3-day program, and the curriculum was already developed by the National Association of Home Builders. I mean, when I was doing this research, I thought, oh my gosh, who knew? And I've met a couple of aging in place specialists in Ventura County, and I've learned from the education head in Washington, D.C., that there is only one instructor in all of California who is certified to give this 3-day program. So we've been talking about some other local folks who might be interested in becoming trainers for the National Home Builders Association and who would be interested in taking this 3-day course. It would be people in the interior design business, people who are contractors, individuals who sell medical equipment, and anyone who is interested in helping seniors, whether in their own homes to age in place or to serve as a consultant in larger facilities, to be sure. And I've learned it's a lot more than grab bars, ladies and gentlemen. It's very complex, and this 3-day program will train professionals to become an aging in place specialist. And finally, what we're looking at is a course to train professional geriatric care managers. And I have learned that although some people call themselves geriatric care managers, there is a professional certification, and we are looking at seeing if we can offer that through an extension program. So if you would like to contribute toward the body of knowledge that I am gathering to make a final report to the college, if you feel strongly one way or the other that these might be viable educational programs in the community, please contact me through the Agency on Aging, and I'm happy to chat with you. I have just about another week before we're winding it up. Thank you very much, Dave.
Thank you for helping us stay aware of this, Karen. Thank you. Thank you. Did you want to give out a phone number or something? Or
They can reach me through.
Right.
You can reach me through you. 381-7362. Thanks, Francie.
Okay. All right, Nance?
I'm just going to read from a flyer that we're giving out, not Council on Aging, but this is a group of, I do, okay. This is a gentleman in Simi Valley who really feels the need to give back. He says it very well. He's had a good life. He thinks he needs to contribute back now. He is starting what he's trying to start, a grassroots nonprofit organization, and I know there have been meetings already with Gray Law about forming a nonprofit organization to help seniors. What the meetings are that he is conducting is to help recruit volunteers from all walks of life, such as painters, plumbers, mechanics, doctors, lawyers, anybody who has a service that they can offer to give helpful discounts to seniors on a fixed income. It's also the fact that a lot of seniors, he lives in a mobile park in Simi, that are really afraid of calling a contractor, every women that are by themselves. They don't know if they'll be taken advantage of. This would be a group of people that would have been, that people, everyone would know. If anybody's interested, I have these flyers up here, and there is going to be, the next meeting is February 13th at 6:30 p.m. at the Simi Valley Senior Center. I've got them right here with a phone number on it, and so if you have a plumber or a painter or a friend that's a contractor, an aging in place contractor, anyone that would be willing to give a little back, it would be great. And they get, of course, the referrals for the business, too. Phone number for Joe Naso, who is running it, is 805-584-6276. He doesn't want to gain anything from it. He's working largely at the Simi Senior Center with their staff over there. But it's supposed to be a joint effort from the Conejo Valley, Moore Park, Thousand Oaks. So it's a great idea. It just takes a long time to get these things really going. Please help if you know anybody. Thank you.
All right. Next, Len.
I subscribe. I beg your pardon. I subscribe to a service from the police department for the county that lets me know what's going on in the county and what the big scams in the county are. And I'm bringing it up again in commissioners' comments, and I say urgently that you pass the word. You are hereby absolutely absolved from giving any personal information on the telephone to anyone. You are hereby absolved from coming quick to the rescue of anyone claiming to be a relative of yours in trouble in a distant place. Do not accept this. These are all scams. They're rampant. I'll tell you how it goes, and I'll change the names. telephone rings. Area code says Texas, which is where my grandchildren are, one set of them. Hi, Grandpa, this is Andy. And he's speaking with an accent and over a bad connection, so it sounds like my grandkid. He says, I need to tell you I'm in trouble. Why? Well, if you're in trouble, why don't you go to your dad? Neither one of them, my dad or my mom, are not reachable right now for some reason, and they're answering their cell phones. But I used a name. And, of course, that just leads down the track. All right, I've gotten 2 phone calls from this same Texas phone number. Same thing. I'm in trouble. My wife, who is a professional in the county and who has a group of professionals that she works with, one of the persons in her supervisory group got a phone call saying, I'm in a jail in Britain. And you can imagine the turbulence that call caused among the 8 that were in her supervisory group trying to figure out how to help this. I will tell you again, your personal information, anything beyond your name, you do not have to give to anyone. I don't care whom they identify themselves as on the telephone. Don't do it. And if somebody calls you up and says that they're in trouble, you are not obligated to try to jump to their aid. If you want to follow up with somebody that you can easily follow up with, by all means, go ahead and do it. But if you can't follow up easily, then don't do it. I just can't say that too strongly. As I said, it's happened twice to me and once to my wife. And now the Ventura County Sheriff's Office has not 1 but 2, dated on the same day, 2 different incidents of this kind of stuff going on in the county. It's been growing. It's become an avalanche. Please don't do it. Even if somebody says it's the IRS is not going to contact you by telephone. Macy's is not going to contact you by telephone that way. No one else is going to contact you on telephone that way. Anyway, thanks very much.
Anybody else down the line? Roberta?
I just had a follow-up with that was that I had a phone call the other day. Hi, this is very garbled, unintelligible name, company, and I'm calling regarding your medical needs for prescriptions. And is this Roberta Kopass? And I said, yes. The next question is, fine, let's begin. What is your birth date? I hung up. Be careful of giving out that kind of information.
Yeah, Marty, go ahead.
Tell you how good these guys are. Tell you how good these guys are. This woman got a call that her grandson was in jail in Canada and needed $2,000 in bail. But she was very smart. She called Kenny's mother, her daughter, told her the story, and the mother said, what are you talking about? Kenny's right here in the kitchen having his lunch. The grandmother insisted she had to send the $2,000. That's how good these guys are. Mm-hmm. Mother had a hard time talking her out of it.
Nancy.
Everybody's got a case.
This is a different from those types of cases. This is something that's a little closer to legal that I was telling you about that we have now got the financial abuse team involved in. And that is the phone solicitors that might call you, and it might be fine. I am still savvy enough to, not do this, and I get these calls all the time. The new one is you've just been pre-approved for a medical alert system. So the woman that we talked about said to the person, I already have one. My daughter pays for it. Said this one will be better, and it's free. Not only was it not free, she gave them her charge card, but then they started billing her $39 a month. And luckily she had a daughter that could go back and take care of it, get it all resolved. But don't take, all right, yes. So you'll be very careful with those types of calls too, not just the total scam ones. So thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anything else? Just a quick recap, folks. Our senior of the year eloquently brought out a lot of the points that's going to go on in this workshop. I encourage everyone who can go there next Tuesday to CLU at the Lundgren Hall to participate, to help us guide our city fathers and mothers to the right direction for the next 50 years. I know Patty mentioned about driving tests, but if you go to our transit meeting on the 19th and you learn about it and feel comfortable, you can actually tell Patty and the Global Center, I don't need no stinking license no more. Also, part of the SAMP Health team, we've got this Healthy New Year, Live Well, Age Well. There's a program this coming Monday, Keeping Your Spirits Up in the Winter. It's going to be held over at the Grant Brimmel Library in the community room. And that's this Monday, so it's another activity. Okay? Well, thank you for your attention and working with us on a lot of these issues. We want you to remember that we are your neighbors, and we do have the resources to help our neighbors. So keep that in mind as you go through some of your daily activities. All right, I'm going to turn this over now to Roberta.
Oh, thank you. Today we have with us Mary Travis. She is from the Ventura County Transportation Commission. She has been an employee of the commission for 23 years and has lived in the Ventura County for 30 years. Mary is here today to talk about our transit needs for the county and getting people from point A to point B with ease. And I underline with ease. Welcome, Mary.
And economically, too, we'd like to think, too. And good afternoon, Commissioners. I am Mary Travis with the Ventura County Transportation Commission. I had mentioned to Roberta earlier that I realized the other day I've now lived half my life in Ventura County. Grew up in the Eagle Rock part of Los Angeles and came up here for a job interview with the county and never turned back. And I can't imagine living anywhere else. And I know probably everyone in this room and out there says the same thing. Before I talk about transit needs, I'd also like to give you guys a phone number and a website. The phone number is 1-800-438-1112. That's 1-800-438-1112. That's a toll-free number. You can actually call anywhere in the U.S. and get information about transit services here in Ventura County, about Metrolink schedules, about all ways to get around in this county. We also have a website that you saw a little bit earlier on the city link that was on the City of Thousand Oaks website, and that's www.goventura.org. That Go Ventura is one word, and it hopefully is indicative of what we do at the Transportation Commission. The commission was created by state legislation in 1989 to coordinate all things transportation in Ventura County and with our neighboring counties, and also to get as much money as we can from the state and federal governments for transportation services. We do that in cooperation with the cities and the county, of course, and we've had fair success over time, but there's always more to do than there is money, and I think also everyone in this room would acknowledge that, too. Also, for the group, I have handouts about what I'm going to be speaking about over there that you can pick up, and they will be available at the VCTC website, too. So if you're interested in more information than what I'm going to give you in this brief presentation, please go to that www.goventura.org website. Now, one of the major sources of funding in this county was also created by the state, and that's the State Transportation Development Act. It was passed in 1971, and it's a portion of your sales tax that gets collected by the state and then sent back to us. Well, it gets sent back at least. Oh, sorry, I thought that was somebody complaining about the state taking our money. The state in this case... The state, in this case, does return this money back to us, a portion of the sales tax that's collected, and then return specifically for transportation purposes. one of the duties of the VCTC is to administer that money and make sure it gets spent with the intent that it was passed by the state. And the intent of the law was that it fund public transit services. This can be your local dial rides, this can be buses, this can be Metrolink trains. It can be bicycle paths or sidewalks for people that go to the non-active transportation side of things to get around. What the state did at the same time that they passed this in 71, though, and again, it's hard to believe how long ago that was at this time, but they put a loophole out there for the cities and the county that if they didn't have any reasonable transit needs to meet, that they could use this same source of money for local street and road purposes, for building highways, for putting in local roads, local sidewalks, that sort of thing. All worthwhile purposes, but again, the intent of this law when it was passed by the state was to fund transit services. Well, what the state then came back and said, well, okay, if you want to use this for local street and road purposes, you've got to do an annual review of whether you have any unmet transit needs that might be reasonable to meet, and use this money for that instead of local street and road purposes. And how you determine that is by holding one public hearing every year in each county. You take comments, and then you determine whether the transit needs are met or not. And that's what the Transportation Commission does. That's our purpose, one of our purposes, and that's what we've done. And we've been doing this for, again, since this requirement was added to the Transportation Development Act in 1978. We updated what we did in the early 90s, but it's been virtually the same process since then. Now, there's been a new state law that goes into effect this July 1st, 2014, and it changes how the money gets spent here in Ventura County. There will only be 4 cities where it can be used for local streets and roads. All the money will have to go to transit purposes. Now, in the current year, this amounts to about $30 million countywide. It's apportioned to the cities by population, and the county gets a chunk for the unincorporated population. But it's a sizable amount of money. In the past, it was spent about 60% for transit and about 40% for local streets and roads. And that's going to significantly change as of July 1st. The cities of Camarillo, Fillmore, Moore Park, and Santa Paula will still have the availability to use that money for streets and roads. But again, they'll have to have a determination first that they're meeting their reasonable need. So there's a big reason right there why we needed to relook at this annual process we have. While we won't necessarily be required to have a public hearing for the whole county anymore, just those 4 cities, we're going to continue to do this basic process in the future, but kind of make it a little, for lack of a better word, a little more reasonable, I think. Because there's another reason why we want to clean up and improve this annual unmet transit needs process. Last year, for example, we got over 600 comments. Now, we don't get them necessarily at the public hearing, but we go to the transit operators, pick up what comments they've heard over the past year. We have this 800 number where people can call up, leave their comments. They don't even need to write anything at that point. You can email the commission at our website. You can go ahead and send us a letter. We're happy to get letters, too. So we take comments in very many ways. And last year, we got over 600 comments about transit needs. Now, not one of those was determined to be an unmet transit need that was reasonable to meet. And as you can imagine, this can be sort of confusing at best and real annoying at worst. I mean, I took the trouble to make this comment. I made the same comment last year or 2 years ago, and you tell me nothing's going to happen with this. The reason for that is a good many, probably 99% of the comments that we've gotten in these later years are about operational improvements. The bus doesn't run often enough. In other words, there's a bus route out there, but maybe it's an hour between buses, so it doesn't run often enough. The bus route is out there, but it doesn't go 2 blocks over to where you could pick up a school, and that might be better to serve it there. So people make comments that are important, and they are transit needs. There's no question about it. They're transit needs, but they're considered operational. And again, this is where you get into it, dealing with the state regulations that are written for all sizes to fit all. We've got a lot of operational issues that we need to deal with, we need to address. We got almost 600 of them last year that people brought up from different places in the county. So these are important to hear from people. But what we'd also like to hear through this process is whether people have an idea. Do you need a bus route? An example might be, do you need to have a bus route that goes from Moore Park to Somas to Camarillo, say on Old 118? Is there enough interest out there for a bus route to be put out there, something new, in other words? So that's what's considered by the state to be an unmet transit need, as contrasted to an operational need. Now, we've made that distinction in the past. The transportation has made that distinction in the past. Again, we've addressed these operational issues or referred them to the transit operators, but we'd like to get a lot more comments from people about transit gaps too, missing links. We're going to have an opportunity coming up as of July 1st that there will be a significant amount more money out there for transit purposes. So we'd like to get more comments of kind of a more significant measure, while still getting those comments about operational issues and addressing those too. So let me go ahead at this point and just tell you what the basic process is going to be in this upcoming year. Very similar to what we've done in the past, but hopefully it will be with a lot more response to people that makes them happy rather than makes them feel more frustrated by the process. Again, we've never had a lack of comments, but we need to get them sorted out right from the get-go so that people don't wait until findings are adopted to hear what they've said is not considered to be reasonable to me. So we're going to go ahead and have several meetings out in the community. We'll have one in Fillmore next week. We had one this morning in the Gold Coast Transit area. I'm addressing the public here at large and encouraging you to get in touch with your City of Thousand Oaks Transit staff if you have any concerns or comments. And putting newspaper ads out, again, encouraging people, if you want to call that 800 number, if you want to email, that's fine. If you want to send us a letter, that's fine too. We'll still keep collecting all your comments and the ones at the community meetings, but we'll sort them out as soon as we get them. You need say you need more bus service on this route. We'll say that's an operational need. We're going to refer that to City of Thousand Oaks for them to address. The transportation, we'll keep track of that as part of this annual gathering collection process throughout the year. But we'll expect the City of Thousand Oaks to be addressing that and commenting back to the person and commenting back to the commission about how this transit concern was addressed. If it's something where it is, in fact, an unmet transit need that's brought up, a significant issue, we have criteria that we're going to go through that will evaluate that against. Where does it rise to that reasonable test, or is it still something that might be a little more fanciful at this point with the population density that we have in this county? That is one of the factors about transit is you need a lot of density to make mass transit work. That's where the mass comes from in the transit. We don't have a lot of mass densities in this county, so we've got to be a little more thoughtful with our planning and how we spend our money, our limited money that's out there. What we're doing is setting a threshold for an unmet transit need to be considered and reviewed. And that would be 15 requests for new general public service or 10 requests for a special service, say a dial-a-ride service, or for senior citizens or persons with disabilities. So if you can get 15 people on your bus that you're riding now that say, yes, you're right, we need more service on this route, then you go ahead and get that comment centered in. and that would rise to the level of an unmet transit need. If you get one person on your bus that says we need more service, we'll still consider it, but it won't pass that reasonableness threshold to become an actual unmet transit need. Again, it doesn't mean that the need is less. It just means we've got to categorize these issues with the limited amount of money that we have. And there's another reason why we need to be careful when we talk about implementing service, too. Again, that the state comes into the giveth and the got to keep our hand into. And that is the state requires that bus services that are out there operating or local dial rides that are out there operating return a certain amount of money from the fares that they raise. So for a general public bus service, one that's open to anyone and runs on a fixed route, 20% of the operating cost for that service has to be paid by the fares that are raised. So you can't just put a bus out there. You have to get a certain amount of people riding it and a certain amount of people paying fares for you to continue that service. And again, that's only reasonable. The last thing that anybody wants to do is to put a bus out there that runs empty and wastes money when you've got needs that are coming up from another direction there. So it's 20% for a general public bus route service, or 10% if it's a special service for senior citizens or persons with disabilities. So there is a lower threshold for that. But you do have to have a certain amount of cost efficiency. You've got new money, you've got the intent for it to be transit, but it's got to be reasonable to go ahead and operate. That's the process that we're going to continue to go ahead and use this upcoming year. And what we'd like to do, though, is create more partnerships. Again, we're looking at this not to have just a public hearing once a year, adopt findings and move on, but to make kind of the public hearing each year the punctuation point for the annual gathering of information about transit needs in this county. The government in this county runs on a July 1st to June 30th fiscal year. And that means that when we make decisions in February, March, when we get this information and work with the transit operators to come up with recommendations for what services need to operate, they'll be starting July 1st that year. So we need to go ahead and create more partnerships and get more involved with social service agencies, with groups like yours. And I was very happy to hear Sherry this morning, too. I mean, there's a natural nexus, too. It doesn't have to be a public hearing once a year where transit gets discussed. We know from surveys that have been done by the Area Agency on Agency, literally for 20 years, that transit and transportation is always ranked in the top 3, always, sometimes ahead of even medical care or housing. You have to be able to get around. And in our communities, they were built for cars. And there's never going to be anything as convenient as driving your own car. But, and this is a point I make when I talk to people about Metrolink rail service, too, what you're getting by using the public transit, you're getting the gift of time. You don't appreciate how long you sit there in cars, particularly if you've got any congestion at all. You're sitting there in cars. In public transit, you've got that gift of time where you'd be surprised how much time and money you save by using public transit, and we want to encourage more and more of that in this county. So we'd like to be building a partnership with you folks. We do have a Citizens Transportation Advisory Committee at the Commission, at the Transportation Commission, that meets monthly. They're very involved in this process. And that group also has, our advisory committee also has representatives from social service agencies like the Area Agency on Aging and independent living, the independent living groups that give their points of view on a regular basis. So we're going to keep working this out to a regular routine. Our public hearing this year is going to be February 24th at 1:30 p.m. at Camarillo City Hall in their council chambers. We'll be adopting findings about 2 months after that. But in the meantime, we'd like to get as much information as we can out there. We'll be sorting it out so that you can get operational issues, the majority of them, addressed as soon as possible. Or in some cases, actually, we get comments and people don't realize that there is a service out there. They just haven't heard about it. The money that you put into marketing is less money you can put into service. So it's a balancing act about how much you can spend in advertising money. But we want to spread the word in any way possible, and in particular about this hopefully less frustrating and more responsive annual process to come up with our recommendations on transit needs every year. And that's all I have. I'll be glad to answer any commission questions.
Any questions from the dais?
Fire away, Nance.
Is the Citizens Committee you spoke about, is that open to people to apply to be on it? Not me, but just in case anybody,
right here,
yes,
too.
in case anybody else did. I know it's
Thank
a
you for
huge
mentioning.
concern. Okay.
It is. Our advisory committee is made up of 2 representatives and 1 alternate from each of the cities, each of the 10 cities. We have 2 representatives and an alternate that are appointed by the Board of Supervisors, and 2 representatives and an alternate at large that are appointed by the Transportation Commission, and then 7 social service agencies that have representatives. Cabrillo Economic Development Corporation, for example, the Area Agency on Aging, Independent Living Resources Center, Tri-Counties Regional Center. So we've got a good group there. The meetings are held monthly, the second Tuesday of every month at the County Government Center at 1:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon. The public's welcome to attend, but you all have representatives there, too.
Thank you. That's
Mm-hmm.
very good information.
I know it was just recently that the appointees were made. Who are they here in our Thousand Oaks?
They were just replaced, as a matter of fact, and I'm drawing a complete blank on their names, but they were just replaced. Jim Caniglio. And it's 2 Jameses. Yeah, there's 2 Jameses, and so I apologize too. Their first meeting was just a couple weeks ago, but I do want to actually, since you mentioned that, want to make a shout out to Don Katz, who was a member of the advisory committee for many years, and a real able representative of Thousand Oaks, real good person. So I hope you're watching, Don. We miss you.
What is the linkage between VCTC and Thousand Oaks? Do you folks, I mean, Mike has told us several times, but maybe for other folks, what is the linkage or control that VCTC has or has not over Thousand Oaks designation of their funds for either transit or road repair?
It's more of a cooperative effort, the relationship that we have between the Commission and Thousand Oaks. But the Commission's responsibility, for example, with this Transportation Development Act, is to certify that Thousand Oaks is meeting all the legal requirements, all the legal strings that come to it, before the Transportation Commission allocates that money to Thousand Oaks. So we have certain control over allocation of the Transportation Development Act money. And then also state and other state and federal grants are channeled through the Commission, and we have other advisory committees that are made up of city representatives in the county that come up with criteria for how that money gets allocated. So it's more of a cooperative effort, but the Transportation Commission is the conduit for a lot of state and federal funds.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you. All right, it's not.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you,
Go to our
Mary.
website.
Yeah. As we said before, we cannot have any public discussion right now, but we're going to adjourn this meeting unless somebody else has something else to say. Thank you for joining us, folks. Don't forget we're your neighbors and we're ready to help you.
That's what I'm